what am I doing? Like, you've saved me, but why, for what? What's my purpose? And I was feeling suicidal at the time and had ideas of swerving my car into traffic, oncoming traffic. The youngest of 4 in our family meant that I learned pretty quickly from my siblings that our house was a place where we didn't really play a lot. I lived on a off-the-grid farm, so we didn't have electricity, we didn't have running water, we didn't have a telephone. We were just very isolated in a very small community in the Midwest in southern Indiana. And so we made everything that we used. We were completely off the grid. And I remember I was probably only about 4. One day I was shaking the cream in a ball jar, and we would shake the cream until it coagulated and became butter. And the jar slipped out of my hands, and it broke all over the floor, cream went everywhere, and my little hands probably didn't have the dexterity yet to hold this and do this, and my mom proceeded to beat me for ruining the butter for the week, and then went in the other room and kneeled down and prayed for forgiveness. And so I had these from just a very early age, really mixed up feelings about, what kind of God was it that you could do something that abusive, that hateful, and then just quickly be forgiven for it. And so I really associated God with an abusive parent and ran from him as long and hard and fast as I could. Music was a big part of our family, and that was one of the only bright spots. I remember making music, we would make music by candlelight after dinner. My dad would play guitar, my mom would sing, all of us kids would sing and dance, and those are some of the only happy memories that I really have of my childhood. Fast forward to when I was about 10 and my parents got divorced. There was a lot of turmoil in our home, abuse. My sisters and I moved with my dad. And from 10 to 12, I pretty much raised myself. My dad was going back to school, and we didn't go to church, we didn't read the Bible, there wasn't much mention of God. I think my dad even was so wounded by it that he didn't encourage us in our faith. And then when I was 12, my dad had a massive heart attack and died. So at that point, I felt completely alone, abandoned, fatherless, and I really didn't have anything to go on at that point because I really didn't have any faith. And lived like that until I graduated college, and shortly thereafter I met Blake, and he was one of the first people my husband now, whoever showed me a loving version of Christianity. I was saved at that point, but I wasn't feeling like I knew there was more to it than what I was living. And the things that were in the past fulfilling to me were just losing their steam. You've saved me, but why, for what? What's my purpose? And I was feeling suicidal at the time and had ideas of swerving my car into traffic, oncoming traffic. And I was just very, very low. I was really frustrated and feeling late for work to this job I don't even want. And I'm praying, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Why is it worth it? I need a sign. And I don't think I really expected one, because typically that's not the way it has worked in the past. But this car that pulled right in front of me, I read the license plate and it says Song Tree. And I'm like, that's kind of goofy. Who puts Song Tree on their license plate? And I'm like, what's Song Tree? Is this part of what you're trying to tell me? And I got this sense of, what does a tree and a song need? It needs a songbird. And then I got, you are my songbird. I knew that he had, again, when I really needed it, spoken to me and told me not only that, you know, sort of what my purpose was, but that I was his songbird. And so that was a really pivotal moment where I started to realize song and music and writing songs and singing has always been a very, like, one of the deepest parts of me. And that was a sign to me that it's time to start really being that songbird and sharing your music and for him. For a long time, I feel like because of my history with Christianity and how the Bible was viewed in our household, it was like my heart was cut off. It was like it was from an early age, just like, I don't know, shriveled up. And I feel like since I've come to Christ and since he's come into my heart and into my life, I've been able to, it's like he's opened my heart back up. When I didn't have hope and my heart was really wounded, it was like I didn't know who I was. And now I feel like I'm starting to understand that I have a story of hope, and he gave me that story, and I went through these things, and I went through hopelessness and these times of darkness and depression, and I may still, I don't know, you know, what the future is going to hold, but I know that he is my hope, and I don't think he's ever going to leave me. I mean, just like I can't leave my name behind me, he's not going to leave me behind. My name is Hope, and I'm living life from my heart.